Alright, hello friends. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. We did get an FAQ last week. We can get Guilliman into a Blood Angels list. So I thought what I'd do is try and make a Blood Angels list, including Guilliman, talk about some pros and cons, can you include him, how you could even do a conversion of him, because that's what I'm working on at the moment, and I'm going to run him. I'm going to see how he gets on. I think it should be a fun battle report. I'm playing Iron Hands next week. Iron Hands are notoriously difficult to deal with right now. So let's talk about how to make the list with Guilliman. And I'm going to show you how to do that in Battlescribe as well. So if you're not familiar, you will be able to do that in Battlescribe too. So hello, and if you are new here to the channel, then I am John, the Blood Angels Commander, and every week here on YouTube we are doing videos to get you to be a better Blood Angels player. So head over to Battlescribe. If you haven't used Battlescribe before, it's very easy. Start by clicking on the data here. You'll need to download the Warhammer 40,000 data. You can also click on it here and click Update Data. That'll basically make sure that you've got the latest. You can see here the latest was from the 21st, so literally 2 days ago, so I am up to date. I'll then want to go ahead and create a new roster, I guess. This will be a new roster. We're going to call it BA plus Guilliman, because that's what it is. It's going to be 2,000 points, and we're going to start with 6 CP. And is there any notes? I don't think there need to be a notes. Let's add a force. So I'm going to add a Blood Angels detachment, and I guess I'm adding an Arks of Omen detachment. I haven't added Guilliman yet to a list, so we'll figure out if Battlescribe is fully up to date with FAQ. If it's not, we'll have to figure that out ourselves. So, we're an Arks of Omen detachment. The game type will be chapter approved Arks of Omen, and maybe, yeah, that's it. Blood Angels, 6 CP. Now, let's have a scroll down and see if there's Lords of War. There is some Lords of War we can include, and it does not mention Guilliman. Okay, so stumped at the first hurdle. So if we pull up the FAQ, you can include an Adeptus Astartes Primarch unit in the chapter detachment, even does not share the chapter keyword. Doing so does not prevent other units from gaining their detachment rules. Okay, so, alright, unfortunately to do this at the moment, you're going to have to do it in a sort of a janky way, because there is no, like when you add your Blood Angels detachment, you're not going to see Roboute Guilliman. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go into the Battlescribe option here and add an Arks of Omen detachment for Ultramarines. You're going to have to make sure that you select the chapter that is Ultramarines, and then you're going to go down to Lords of War. And we're going to add Roboute Guilliman. There's no War Gear options, but he is going to have to be your Warlord. We're probably not going to spend 1 CP in his Warlord trait, because it just lets Ultramarines heroically intervene, and that's going to be of no use to us whatsoever. It's saying that he must have his Warlord trait as well, which I think is an error, because technically Roboute doesn't need his Warlord trait. Anyway, so that spends us 300 points. That gets us Roboute. Let's just look at his profile on Battlescribe. It doesn't say anything about he has to have his Warlord trait. No, it's just, it's kind of a legacy thing, because I guess he's technically using 8th edition rules still. And the reason to take Roboute is because of this one paragraph here, Master of Battle, really. Add 1 to advance and charge for Imperium units within 12, so that will help with, well, all Blood Angels, of course, because they're Imperium. And that'll give them +2 to advance and charge. So if you land your Deep Strikers within 12 of Roboute, you're getting +2 to advance and charge. You're also going to get to reroll hits of 1. And you're also going to get to reroll morale tests, which is again a legacy rule. You can't reroll morale tests in 9th edition except for this rule, as far as I'm concerned. He does buff Ultramarines, but it doesn't matter. We won't have any Ultramarines. He has to be the Warlord, but that's fine by being the Warlord. And your army is going to be Battleforged. You're going to get the 3 command points. And then he's got that 3-up invulnerable save. And his sword is kind of ridiculous in that he gets 6 attacks, and it would be +1 for shock assault, so it would be 7 attacks really. Hitting on 2s, wounding a lot of thing on 2s with strength 8, and then 6s on wounds or mortals, or I guess you can go the Hand of Domination and do 4. Depends what you're fighting, really. Hand of Domination is no minus to hit as well. So Roboute is a monster. So I think if we're going to start the list, Roboute, we'll just close down that detachment. So we know we've got Roboute, and he is there, and he's going to be quite interesting, right? So I think we've already talked a lot about infiltrators being really useful now in 9th edition, so, or really useful in Arks of Omen. So I think I'm going to take a couple of squads of infiltrators, and we'll take the free Helix Gauntlet on both squads, right? So that will give us basically screening for our whole backfield. We won't have to worry about that whatsoever. Our backfield will be very screened, I feel like. we may come back to a third troop choice. That might be an option. For what I've been saying for Blood Angels at the moment is I still think Death Company are really strong, so we'll add Death Company, jump pack, and we're going to put 4 Thunderhammers in the squad. So we'll have like, I guess we're going to have none with the standard weapon options. We're going to have 4 with Thunderhammers at 30 points per model. We're going to have 1 with a custom weapon option, and that is going to be your Power Sword Infernal Pistol, right? And we're going to do 2 squads like that, because I think Death Company... Basically, the idea would be to trade them every turn. Or turn 1, you put them on Assault Doctrine, potentially you trade them. Turn 2, you put the other squad in Assault Doctrine and you trade them. And you're always trying to trade up. So you're spending 155 points, but you're trying to kill a lot more than 155 points. Usually, if there's a good target that you can kill that's 250, 300 points, that's what you're after. So we got the 2 Death Company. I also think Sanguinary Guard might still have some place in the meta, so maybe we're going to take some Sanguinary Guard. And I think I'm just going to take 5 now, Sanguinary Guard. And I'm just going to make sure that we've got 5 Infernal Pistols in this list. If you have some Power Fists or Axes or nonsense like that, by all means, you know, mix them in. I think I've got a bunch with Power Fists and Infernal Pistols. So that would be me. So 3 fast-moving troop choices. Or elite choices, and that puts us on 960 points. I think I want Terminators, and I think I want Terminators with Thunderhammers. I think I'm going to take pretty much what I was running before, which I think is 3 Thunderhammers, maybe 4, and 1 guy with Lightning Claws. So something like that. And that's 165 points. That's really interesting, 165 points. We could also do like a big squad of Aggressors in Deep Strike. We could also do Centurions. And I was thinking the other day about like a Redemptor Dreadnought in Deep Strike. But after hearing about Roboute being able to give +2 to all my deep striking units, then possibly, like, my thought is, like, what about them Centurions? I only have 3 Centurions, so I can't run the big squad. So I would run 3 Centurions. We could, if we're going to, like, I always thought they were good for having Flamers, because essentially that would be preventative. Like, you know, people couldn't charge the Centurions. If we're going to put the Centurions in Deep Strike, then maybe it's Meltas. So maybe, like, we get Meltas, we get 3 Hurricane Bolters. I guess the Sergeant could take the Assault Launchers and 2 sets of Hurricane Bolters. Or you could just take all Hurricane Bolters. I feel like if you're going to... Yeah, I mean, I think that it's unlikely you're going to pay the CP for the Assault Launchers when you charge, so probably just take the Hurricane Bolters. So Hurricane Bolters and Meltas, Flamers would be fine too. And then you get 1 squad of Elites left. And again, you're probably going to want something durable. Durability right now for me, I think, is Blade Guard Veterans. And so I'm going to take a squad of Blade Guard Veterans. I ran them at the recent tournament I was at, and I'm going to give the Sergeant the new Volkite pistol, because that's how I've got them armed. And because we're going to take those Blade Guard Veterans, I am going to take an Impulsor, because it's only 100 points now. We get the free stubber on it, and we're going to put the shield dome on it, so it's survivable. Alright, so we're at 1580 points. We need probably 2 HQs here, right? So like, we probably need Sanguinary Priest. Let's keep him cheap and cheerful for now. And then I'm probably going to take my captain on a bike, and I'm probably going to make him my chapter master. And the reason behind that would be chapter master rerolls onto the Death Company, and then they could run off. He can't be the warlord. But he could have a Relic of the Chapter, and he could also have Hero of the Chapter, so we probably go ahead and do both those things. Hero of the Chapter to give him Rights of War, giving me our OBSEC. Relic of the Chapter to give him Armor Indomitus. We'll give him the Infernal Pistol, and we'll give him a Thunderhammer, and he will cost 145 points, if I'm correct. Yes. Okay, so we have 185 points left. We basically have 3 really fast-moving, punchy jump units. We have 2 that are going to come in from Deep Strike, hopefully getting a 7-inch rerollable charge. Arguably, I guess we could put the jump pack on this priest and give him Icon of the Angel, which would be a Relic of the Chapter. I have to think about that. So basically, like, what you would do is you would move the, so when you're deep striking, you're probably going to want to deep strike the Centurions and the Terminators in turn 3. Maybe if there's an option, you can come in turn 2. But you're probably going to want to, you could even have Guilliman in reserve. So you bring down Guilliman with these reserves next to him or within 12 inches, and then you get the 7-inch charge on those. It could be re-rolled because the priest could jump over and be in range. Or you just have a 7-inch charge because you're near Guilliman. And then Centurions would be able to re-roll 1s because they're within 12 of Guilliman, potentially. And that's good because they're not core, so they normally don't get any rerolls. And I guess your Terminators will be able to reroll 1s as well, which is also good because Thunderhammers are -1 to hit, but you could also pay 1 CP for a few of the first, so both Centurions and Terminators would be hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s. There could also be an argument here for just mastercrafting the Sergeant's Thunderhammer, right? Like, because we can tweak Angel's Ascendant on that Thunderhammer and just be like, fuck it, we're going to mastercraft our Terminator Sergeant's Thunderhammer. He gets 3 attacks normally, so it would be 5 on the charge in turn 3, so he would get 5 attacks with a mastercrafted hammer, which would be basically like -3 damage. I forget how many attacks the Centurion Sergeant gets. Does he get more attacks? I know his drill is strength times 2, so it's strength 10 -4, 3 damage. A Centurion is showing me the weapon options. I just want to see the guy's profile. How do you get... Oh, maybe I have to mouse over the squad here. A Centurion Sergeant does get 1 more attack, actually. So it would probably make more sense to mastercraft. It's an interesting one, right? Because both of them can go up to 4 damage. The Centurion's probably going to wound more effectively, but the Terminator can possibly survive better because he's got that 4-up invulnerable save. You could revive, but you could use the priest to revive whichever model. So I mean, there could be an argument for the Centurion Sergeant having the mastercrafted weapon for sure if he's coming in from reserve. I always wanted to do Centurions from reserve, but they were too expensive before. But this is one way, like, there's no, short of like trying to take a chaplain and spending CP to do Canticle of Hate. This is the only other way we can get 7-inch charge from Deep Strike, and by taking Icon of the Angel we can re-roll it. We've only spent 3 CP so far, so with Guilliman giving us back 3 CP, we're actually sitting on 6. There could even be an argument here that you don't need the Priest, because you can, with 6 CP you can pay 1 for Forlorn Fury, and then in turn 1 you can just Adaptive Strategy your Death Company. So you've actually put the Death Company into Assault Doctrine in turn 1, and Assault Doctrine in turn 1, you've still got 3 CP left, which is more CP than I ever have, right? Like, I never have 3 CP that early in the game. Not with, like, reserves and all the nonsense that you get, or you have to do with everything you've had to do in Nakman. Here's a good question, I actually don't know this. Is Guilliman going to benefit from Doctrines as well? Because you're not going to lose any detachment abilities by taking him, so are you going to get... Are you going to have your Doctrines? Or is Guilliman going to get the Doctrines as well? Because he's not breaking faction purity and he would have Doctrines. I'm actually sure that I'm not going to be able to answer this, but maybe somebody in chat could, someone leave a comment down below. If every unit from your army is Adeptus Astartes keyword, excluding Agents of Imperium Unaligned, then you gain the bonus. Yes, okay, so Guilliman will have Doctrines as well. Okay, interesting. I mean, he's going to benefit from the melee doctrine probably more than most, so this would be a standard sort of Blood Angels build where you want to rush towards the assault doctrine as soon as possible. Okay, so if this is the list, the 6 really punchy close combat elite units, the Impulsor, probably because you need something to sit on an objective, we're sitting on 185 points. I really wanted to have 220 points left because I wanted this list to be rounded out with a couple of Baal Predators. I don't know the viability of Baal Predators, but I thought it would be quite fun. They get free Hunter Killer Missile, they get free Storm Bolter. I guess you would take 2 Heavy Bolters and you would take the Twin Assault Cannon, and you would probably do that on both. there's almost no point in taking Lucifer pattern engines. It's a stratagem that doesn't make a lot of sense. If Lucifer pattern engines let you advance and shoot your heavy weapons, then I could see it, but as it stands, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, so we're 65 points over, so something has to give if we want to make this work. What am I willing to give up? It does kind of make me think like maybe the priest is what has to give. He has a really expensive jump pack. The only real advantage to having the priest would be he can shorten charge distances if you're smart, and he could reroll charges. I was gonna say you're gonna burn a ton of your CP by doing adaptive. Like if you do adaptive strategy, and let's say you go first, so you Furlong Fury, you adaptive strategy. That's 3 CP used, but you still have 3. So in turn 1 you get 1. The opponent's player's turn you get 1, so you're on 5. So turn 2 you adaptive strategy the Death Company again. You're actually on 3 at the start of turn 2, regardless of who goes first. So the second you get 1, you're actually starting turn 2 on 4. You know, if you're starting turn 2 on 4 CP, I mean, I'm rarely starting turn 2 on more than 2, and I'm trying to keep 2 for interrupts. So I actually think you have more CP than you might need here. There is no Whirlwind in this list, and that might be the downfall of the list, because Whirlwinds fight last combined with combined with the use of CP can actually really help Blood Angels win games, right? If you're fighting other close combat armies and they've got, or if you're fighting other armies with really nasty close combat units, the Whirlwind can actually win you games. Some people might argue you could have a Judiciar. Let's remove this for a second, and let's see if we could actually include a Judiciar. Where is he? He would be an elite choice. And he's 75 points, so we're still 20 points over. Excuse me. Excuse me. The Judiciar could go in the blade in the blade could go with the Blade Guard veterans. So you've got a fight last around the Judiciar, and you could probably put something on him, like I know he can take Hero of the Chapter and take Selfless Valor, which gives him the 6-inch heroic. I think that's the build that most people expect you to run on the Judiciars, just give him the 6-inch heroic. I don't know if there's any icons or stuff that really benefit him hugely. Yeah, why don't we give him the 6-inch heroic then? And that's Selfless Valor for anyone that doesn't know. So you'd have the Judiciar and the 5 Blade Guard veterans inside the Impulsor. You'd have 2 Battle Predators. They could reroll ones because of Guilliman. So you do have a fight last, but you don't have an army-wide fight last. You get the Centurions, you got the Sandguard. I feel like, and then the Infiltrators. If you're going to do Retrieve Nat1 data, or Retrieve Battlefield data, I was going to say, I feel like you could possibly get away with Squad of Incursors here. That would save, like, a very small amount of points. Incursors are now 90, I think. And they get the free mine, wherever the mine is. Haywire Mine, yeah. And I do like the Incursors of the mine. So then you just have 10 points to save. The only way I could save 10 points, I guess, would be to lose a Thunderhammer really off the Death Company, because none of the other options, and that's the tricky thing now, none of these other options cost points. I suppose you could lose the Thunderhammer off your captain. Arguably you might not need the Thunderhammer on the captain on a bike anymore if you have I was going to say if you have Guilliman as a combat monster. What other options does the captain on the bike have? He has the Power Sword, the Power Maul, the Power Fist. Power Fist is free, is it? Interesting. Power Fist is not horrific for free. I mean, it's probably pretty decent for free. But maybe, you know, I always take Armor Indomitus on this captain, right? Like, I often take Armor Indomitus. This, I know what build I'm going to do. I always take Armor Indomitus because I'm trying to make him a really survivable captain. Who can, like, angel sacrifice, whatever, you know, and try and survive through a turn. That's not why he's in this list now. In this list, he's here to give the Chapter Master rerolls to the Death Company. He'll maybe get an Entangle. And the thing is, I'm going to have a 300-point heroic Primarch Guilliman getting into Tangle. So I think he doesn't probably need the Thunderhammer. Why don't we just save the points, remove the Thunderhammer from him, wherever that may be. Thunderhammer, which costs 10 points. I saw it just a second ago, I'm blind. Captain on a Bike, Thunderhammer. I definitely saw it. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so we remove the Thunderhammer from him. We change it out to a Chainsword. Bear with me, I have a plan. And then we remove Armor Indomitus because we don't care about surviving, and we just make it Teeth of Terra. So, Teeth of Terra gives you 3 additional attacks. So the Captain on the Bike, rather than having 6 attacks hitting on 3s because of the Thunderhammer's -1 to hit, you would have, and when I say 6 attacks, I mean 6 attacks in Assault Doctrine because of the +2, it's 4 attack space. So you'd move from 4 attack space to 7 attack space. And they're still Strength 5 attacks, -2, 2 damage. So the same AP as the Thunderhammer, 1 less damage, but I get 2 additional attacks. So the Thunderhammer could do a maximum of 18, because it would be 6 times 3. The Teeth of Terra would be 9 times 2. So it could actually do the same 18. And it's, wow, I didn't realize that. It could actually do the same 18. It's just lower strength, and it's not as good at -1 damage or half damage enemies. But I don't think I'm going to have to worry about -1 or half damage enemies when Guilliman has 7 attacks with a 4 damage fist, or 7 attacks with 3 damage sword, and then d6. And every 6 on the wound roll is d3 mortals. I mean, Guilliman can do... I mean, it's never going to happen that you would roll 6 6s on your mortals, but, like, Guilliman can actually do 18 mortal wounds in a single round of combat, on top of 21 damage. So this Captain on the Bike doesn't need to do damage anymore. So this is a crazy list, and I guess the trick would be to figure out what's in reserve. What's in reserve probably is, like, the Terminators, the Centurions, maybe even both Baal Predators, and then we just hide everything else. Everything else is in cover. In turn 1, we send 1 Death Company out to trade, and we send Impulsor onto an objective to hopefully survive. There could be an argument here then, with the amount of CP that I've got, to just not have the Judiciar and just have an Apothecary. The Primaris Apothecary is 70 points, actually, so we could easily have a Primaris Apothecary here, and he could just keep those Blade Guard alive. I like the idea of the Judiciar, only I feel like the fight last in just one section of the board is possibly weaker. I think I would just rather keep... I mean, why don't we take the Apothecary? What if I give him some sort of... Is there any hero of the chapter that could be worth it? Soul Warden? Soul Warden could be worth it, actually. 5 up against mortals and a 6-inch bubble around the Apothecary. The other interesting thing is that the Impulsor is a transport with an assault ramp, so you can get out of the transport after it's moved. Units embarked with this transport can disembark even if it's made a normal move. So you could normal move, then have your Apothecary jump out into cover. He's just 1 model, he would be in cover possibly, or obscured, and then he's providing his feel no pain against, if you're playing a psychic army or an army that's going to be able to do mortals, I don't know, broadside battle suits, they always do mortals when they shoot, then you could get some defense against that, right? This is a bit of an experimentation though, right? So I'll have spent 3 CP on my characters, and I'll have spent 1 CP giving my Terminator a +1 damage hammer. You could also give your Centurions a Quake Bolt, which arguably might be more valuable actually, because if your Centurion Sergeant has a Quake Bolt, then the second he hits with the Quake Bolt, I guess, you would be getting your... I have to think. If he hits with the Quake Bolt, you would be getting... What would you be getting? You'd be getting +1 to hit, and you could use that, you know, like from 16 attacks coming in from Centurions, that +1 to hit is probably going to be pretty useful. It's going to score you an extra 2 or 3 hits. Is that better than +1 damage on the Thunderhammer? Do you know what? It's probably similar. It's probably similar. Maybe there's a small argument to Quake Bolt, but with Quake Bolt you have to make that hit roll, which could be a miss. You could go either way on that. Yeah. So that would be a list containing 2 Bile Predators, which we never see, the Blade Guard and Impulsor, Roboute, and then a crap load of... And you know what? We've actually gone back to 195 points. So if we could find 5 points, I think the only way, because I was thinking, could we get back to 2 squads of infiltrators? Because 2 squads of infiltrators gives us great board control. 1 squad of infiltrators and cursors would work, I think. Okay, so this is a bit of a mad list. But I think I'm gonna... I think this... one thing I've been saying is that I think this season is going to be all about doing mad shit. Because everything... All bets are off. Everything... And there's still some broken rules, right? Like at the moment you can't actually include Voidsmen or any agents of the Imperium because their rules are kind of broken. So yeah, why don't you guys leave me a comment? What would you change? Tell me what you would change to make this a better list for Blood Angels with Guilliman. I'd love to hear what you think, because I really do plan on running Guilliman this week. I've been converting Helbreck into a Blood Angels character, because he's on the same 60mm base. If you haven't seen my Helbreck, then I'll be painting it on one of my streams in the next few weeks. So check that out. Let me know what you would change. And thank you so much for watching as always. I will catch you in the next one, brothers. By the blood are we made strong. Peace. And finally, for anyone that wanted it, I'm just putting the list in text in the video description, so you can just grab it there if it's something that you considered or wanted to run. Peace.